hopefully additional people will join us. So this is a joint meeting of the District Advisory Building Committee as well as the Building Level Advisory Committee. Welcome, everyone. I'm Emily Pigdor, I'm the school board chair, and I'm the co-chair of the DABC. And let's go around and do introductions, especially since this is a joint meeting. I don't know that everyone does know each other. So I'm going to hand it to Charlie, and maybe from there, folks can introduce themselves and then hand it to someone else. So Charlie. And
if you could just say whether you're a DABC or BLAC member.
Good evening, everyone. Charlie Merengue, one of the lead teachers at Reiki School, and happy to pass it over to Annie.
I'm Annie Dalton, another lead teacher at Reiki School. I believe Charlie is both committees, and I am just BLAC.
Want to hand it off to somebody?
Sure. Sorry. I'll send it to Emily Hurley.
Hello, everyone. I am a member of the BLAC for Prism Scott School officially, but I'm also a parent of Reiki students. And I'm sending it to Jess.
Hi, Jess Marino, and I'm on the DABC. Oh, I'll send it to Sarah.
Thanks, Jess. I'm Sarah Thompson, former school board member and member of the DABC. Thank you.
Hand it over to someone.
Sorry about that. Matt?
Good evening, Matthew Winch, member of the DABC and also a child at Lyseth Elementary. I'll hand it to Tony Roy.
Good evening, I'm Tony Roy. I'm with Harriman, and I'll hand it over to Mark Lee.
Very good. Thank you, Tony. Mark Lee with Harriman as well, and I'll hand it over to Ben Grant.
Hi, folks. This is Ben Grant. I'm an at-large member of the school board, and with one kid at King and one at Ocean Ave. Pass off to Tamara.
Hi, Tamara Sweeney, Assistant Director of Facilities with the Portland Public Schools, and I will pass it over to my boss, Steve.
Hello, everybody. Steve Stoffen, Portland Public Schools Facilities Director. I'll hand it off to my boss, Terry or Javier. Take your pick.
Although I don't think Terry is with us yet. So Javier Botana, Superintendent, and I will pass it off to Dave Lewis.
Hi, good evening. David Lewis. I'm the owner's representative for the 3 BFOF elementary schools. Oh, who's left?
I think, Jeremy, you might be the last.
All right, and I'll pass it off to Jeremy.
Thank you. So that's a default final pass. So my name is Jeremy Dean. I am on the BLAC. My daughter, Uchi, goes to Reiki, and my son, Glenn, went there before, and he's now at Portland High. So anyway, that's me. So if that's it, I guess I was about to say I have no idea who's left, and I was going to defer to someone else to point somebody. So.
All right. Thank you for that, everyone. So I'm going to hand it off to the superintendent and the Harriman team in a moment to do the agenda review. What I would like to do is just review the minutes and see if we do have quorum for the DABC, and if the members of the BLAC can just bear with us for a second, so we can approve the minutes from our October 20th meeting of the DABC. And then just to the Harriman folks, I don't know is Emily with us? I don't actually see Emily.
Emily is not tonight, Emily.
We are hoping to also approve the September minutes today. I don't know if, Mark, if there's any chance you have those available, or Superintendent Patana, if you do. But if there's a way that we could add those to board docs or circulate them in the chat and also review them at the end of the meeting, that would be great.
I will get them because they were in the October meeting, so I just need to go back and find them.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So I hope folks have had a chance to look at the minutes from the October meeting. let's start with a motion. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from our October 20th meeting of the DABC? And so members of the BLAC, just hang back for a moment. Is there a motion? Sarah, seconded by Ben. Thank you so much. Okay. Are there any questions on the minutes or any corrections?
Emily, do you need my vote for a quorum?
I do.
Okay. I was going to say I was absent, but I will vote. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sarah. All right. If there aren't questions or discussion, if you can just with a show of hands show if you support approving the minutes from our October 20th meeting. And Jeremy, is that you as well?
I'm BLAC, so I don't think I'm voting in this, right?
Oh, man. I was thinking I got confused because you were on the Reiki BLAC.
Yeah.
All right. That means we do not have a quorum. Okay.
Sorry.
Is that right? So one.
There's 4 of us.
Oh, Aura. Aura has perfect timing. Aura, hello. You have perfect timing. I don't know if she can hear us yet. We'll give Aura a moment. While I'm talking, if the members of the DABC can look in the chat for our October minutes, our September minutes, and we'll go and look at those next. And then we can just get past this section and get into the meat of the meeting. Aura, hello. You have perfect timing because we need you for quorum to approve the minutes from our October 20th meeting.
Okay.
And we've already had a motion and a second, and there weren't any comments or corrections. So we're going to just go ahead and vote. Please indicate whether you support approving the minutes from our October 20th meeting, just with a show of hands. All right. So the minutes are approved unanimously. And now we're going to move to the September minutes, which are just posted in the chat. Are there any questions? So this was from September 15th meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from our September 15th meeting?
So moved.
Matthew, seconded by Aura. Are there any questions or just corrections? Okay. By a show of hands, if you can indicate whether you support approving the minutes from our September 15th, 2022 meeting. Okay, excellent. Minutes are unanimously approved. Thank you for bearing with me through that. And now I am just going to go ahead and hand it over to Superintendent first. Do you want to get us started, Mr. Superintendent?
Not a lot to say, just to sort of review the agenda briefly. And I thank everybody because we did sort of collapse the 2 meetings into a single one because of the scheduling. And we thought that there was, significant overlap on the issues, as there always is. But, people obviously are looking at things from a different vantage point. But we appreciate everyone's flexibility in trying to be here today, particularly from the BLAC, since you were not scheduled for today. So we're going to do a construction update that will include looking at our current status and phasing, and then just talking about the FF&E budget and where we are with that, as well as some of the logistics around timing for furniture purchases and so on, and then just do our standard update on the contingency, which has some significance given particularly the roof issues at Reiki. So we're going to talk about that. And with that, I think I'm turning it over to Mark to guide us through this.
Very good. So I will share my screen here, and I will MC the slide deck that I'm ably supported by lots of other folks too. So certainly if I don't have information, we've got a lot of people that are engaged in the project at various levels that can help. And with that, see if I can get the slides to advance here. So we've kind of already talked about the agenda, so I'll move right into the construction update. And so start with the Longfellow and kind of a bulleted list of where we are with progress. And so right now, one of the big focuses at Longfellow is the kindergarten wing, and the rough-ins are complete. That's all the electrical and mechanical and plumbing items that kind of go inside of walls. And then that allows them to put the drywall on one side of the studs. And the reason we leave one side is so that they can be inspected as well. So, and then we've been waiting for steel joists to be delivered. They have been, and now we're preparing to install them. So those are reinforcing the roof in areas where snow can pile up and create a what we call a drift condition. And then the addition component, pouring the exterior concrete walkways around the addition, which is getting to that sort of final part of the site work, prepping for masonry to begin on the addition itself. So the walls, exterior walls are up, but we're going to start cladding them in the brick. The elevator is on site, and so that's getting ready to install into the shaft. The roof of the elevator shaft is installed, and we're prepping for the roof installation at the two-story addition. So that's putting the insulation, tapered insulation on, and then the membrane. So that's that. Again, so that's kind of progress of what's going on in terms of challenges right now. Challenges at Longfellow are we have had inspection delays at the city due to their staffing, and we'll see a little bit more of how that may impact when we start talking about the schedule a little bit. So I will move along. I'll pause at the end of each slide, so just if there's a question, I'll scan to see if there is a hand up. And then Emily can call on them. But so here we are with the schedule update. The city pushed out the in-wall inspection, as we just kind of discussed, by about 1 week. And so that's one item. And then Blaine Casey, the contractor, looked to see if that was going to impact the completion dates. And right now, they're looking at a revised completion date of 1/12, so January 12th, for the kindergarten wing. And we're taking a look at that right now internally to see just exactly what that's going to do. But it doesn't look like it'll affect moving into the classrooms for the staff, as they were already scheduled to kind of do that move in January under the current schedule that we had. So that delay really isn't going to impact that part. It's going to extend the timing of the contractor to finish that work, but it shouldn't impact when the staff moves into those rooms. And then we've asked them, because of this becoming more of an issue now, we've started to look at asking the contractors to put these scheduled inspections into their schedule so that we know, or we can see if there's going to be an impact or what the impact will be in the future if those dates are delayed due to unforeseen conditions or staffing issues from the city. So, and then just this is a continuation of that. So we've been meeting with administration and looking at the big question was, do we have enough spaces after we've completed the kindergarten wing, and do we have enough room to be able to empty out the entire second floor to be able to get all that work done at one time by the contractor instead of having to split the sides of the corridor apart. And so it looks like we do have enough room. So that's really good news. So instead of it becoming a extended phase, that'll shorten the construction duration. So they'll be able to all do that all at once. So we're going to revise that phasing plan that we have to submit to the city right now. That's going to show that all as one phase and get their approval. And then the next piece of that is just meeting to discuss, and that's happening tomorrow, but meeting to discuss the specific move dates for each classroom. So what classroom moves or opens up when, and coordinating moving furniture into that classroom and setting it up. So that orchestration of all those parts, start that planning in earnest now that we've got this game plan, a revised game plan. I'll pause for a minute. Okay. So right now, here's what kind of we're looking at. We're going to finish the completion of the kindergarten classrooms as just discussed in January. Then the lower level of the school, and that's sort of directly below the kindergarten net. Right now we're looking to complete that on February 17th. That was originally that phase was going to extend out as part of when we were going to do the additions, and it was at the end of next summer. So that's going to get moved up quite a bit. They've been working away at that. The elevator addition kind of stays where it approximately was going to be. That's in April. We'll have that up and running. The two-story, the major addition that we're doing was, again, originally anticipated to be complete in the late summer. That now is moving up to February completion. So that also is going to shorten the construction timeline. This is all good news in terms of thinking about the impact to operations at the school. And then we have the second floor, which now that we can start doing that all at once, we'll start that as soon as we complete the kindergarten wings and some of the other spaces, and then we'll be able to start that in earnest in February and complete that entire second floor by the end of the summer. So that's sort of the longest component of it. The last piece of the scope that we identified as phase 6 was some of the finishes in the corridor on the first floor, particularly over by the gym and the library, and some of the code upgrades. And that will be done over the summer as well. So it looks like instead of extending further into past the fall, all the work will be completed this coming summer. So that's really great to see that that construction schedule really compress and slide up. And so we're pretty excited about that. It means the last things we'll have to do is just look at when we can get the modulars removed, but that will actually be able to happen before the weather turns bad. So we'll still have the ability to regrade sites and reseed and whatnot in the fall. All right. So just some of the photos that highlight some of the progress we just talked about. You can see the elevator addition that's in the corner by the two-story component of the school. So it ties them together all 3 levels. It's right now shown as that concrete masonry wall. You can see some of the waterproofing that came up and the regrading of the courtyard right to its base. And so start looking at the cladding of that with a metal panel. And then we've got interior. The top 2 photos show sort of progress in that kindergarten wing area where we've got ceiling. Some of the framing going up. We've got ceiling is getting ready to go in. The rough ends are shown in the walls, and so that's ongoing as well. The picture in the middle lower center of the screen shows the steel stairs being installed in the addition. So that's you can see the door at the very top coming to a landing, and then the first set of stringers without the stairs actually on the stringers yet, but you can see that coming down to the intermediate landing. So those are being installed. And then lastly, we've been showing the teacher's kitchen waiting for the hood to be completed, the components of it. And finally, that is complete. So you can see that now installed. Okay. Reiki, right now, currently working on finishes in the classrooms of the current phase 4. And then also at the exterior, getting ready to side the new addition in the admin area, as well as the stair tower. And so that's just about to begin. And then thinking and looking at the request to move up the phase end date so that we have time to move into those classrooms and be able to switch to the next phase. They are able to accommodate that. And so, but that's pending inspection by the city. So keeping an eye on that to make sure that that can still happen. And then the phase 5 that comes right after this, they're actually going to start some of that work over the holiday break, but then in January, they'll really start in earnest after, again, we've got that break and they've completed work in early December. Then they'll be able to start the next phase of the classroom renovations in January. So that's keeping on where we currently had as a schedule. Some of the challenges with Reiki, as you all know, we've got the roof issue to deal with. And I think probably those who have been in the school very recent with some of the rain and whatnot, I think it's become still very evident that the leaking is there. So we're working with the contractor on that. We did get a first piece of pricing in from the roofer, but there are still other components of it. And so in addition to it just being the roof itself, it also is part of it is the leaking that occurs at the window wall on each side of the roof deck. And so that is, we're waiting for pricing to come in on some of those pieces of it. So we're getting a little closer to understanding what the pricing will be. The other one is the cancellation of the inspections by the city or rescheduling. And that does have a potential to cause a delay in the project. So again, the aspect we're working carefully with the city to just see how quickly we can get them rescheduled and back to the site to see so we can keep the contractor moving forward. The schedule update. So as I said, Hardy Pond will accommodate the 12/9 earlier completion date pending the city inspectors. And then we asked them for date or a detailed schedule so that we could understand how we'll make that date. And so they have provided a day-by-day accounting of how they're going to get the work done so that we'll be on track for that. And some of the photos of the progress. The larger photo is the addition, the admin addition. So from Brackett Street, you can see that. And that silver material is the exterior that we put on right below the insulation. So it's a air and vapor barrier, keeps the moisture and air out of the building. And you can see the canopy that's sort of floating over on the right-hand side of that photo. So that's had a metal panel put on it. So we're getting ready to install the siding on the main thing, but the windows are in, as you can see there, and the roofing is turned over the roof edge at the very top of that addition. The top two photos are showing the drywall going on in the interior of the rooms, the classrooms. And so there's taping and mudding going on there. And then you can see the drywall panels on that Classroom 101 picture. So, that's ongoing. And then on top of the addition, on the lower right-hand picture, you can see the new mechanical unit that provides the ventilation for the admin area. And that's installed. You can sort of see it just above the roof edge in that photo. Oh.
Yes, Emily.
Thank you. Sorry. I am, as a member of the Reiki community, I'm wondering more about the leaks. Can someone speak to where the leaks are? I know that as a parent, there were many times leaks on the community side of, as you walked into the building in years past. So I'm just wondering, how is that connected? Is it the same area? I'm just concerned because there have been leaks at Reiki for many years, and I'm just wondering, are these new or existing?
Yeah, so these leaks that we're seeing or addressing have been persistent leaks in the building, and so and I'm not sure if by the community side it's sort of well past the brickworks and in the cafeteria area, or if you're meaning right above that area.
So typically, it's as parents enter on the Clark Street side entrance. For as long as my children have been there have been leaks on that side. So I did see the buckets today. I'm just concerned that I believe that section may not have been a part of the addition or the remodel, but I'm trying to understand.
Sure, and right now, what we understand to be the source of the leaks that occur at that center portion of the buildings, where the ramps used to come up and cross over, has probably there's really two contributing aspects to the leaking. One is the roof deck itself, and then the other portion is the vertical surface of the window walls. And so some of the leaking occurs at the joint between those as well. And so we believe that we're going to be addressing the major cause of the leaks in that whole center area. And if there are additional leaks above, I'm not aware of them. I don't know if Steve or others may have some understanding beyond what we're addressing with this major repair.
Well, I think the history is well known in the length and time that these areas have been leaking. Well before my tenure here, 10, 15 years going back to when the second deck was applied over the plaza. So the leaks you're seeing will be remedied by the resolution to this deck and storefront front wall that we call the plaza. So they do look like they may be from one section to another, but they're all from this area of leakage to the wall and the deck. So yes, the leaks you see have been leaking for some time, many, many years. A lot of work has been done also to mitigate the leaks, and the leak has stopped for a period of time, from membrane being replaced, so porcelain, main roofing, repairs to the gutters. All of these things have been done over the years. We'll transfer a leak from one place to the other, but the final solution of what we're going to get to is really correcting something that was done 15 years ago, as they built the deck, took the roadway away from the deck from one side of the building to the other, from Clark Street to Brackett. And now we're dealing with the final solution of how that's to be handled to prevent leaking. So that's what we're facing.
And I'll just reiterate, Emily, that we're committed to actually as you heard from Steve, that we're committed to actually solving this problem. It's been ongoing for a long time, and we're finally at the point where we're understanding it fully. We don't yet have, as you heard, the cost estimates, and there's reason to be somewhat concerned about the cost, but our intention is to fix this problem for once and for all, and stop the water in the building.
Very good. All right, I will move on to Presumpscot. So Presumpscot, the front addition got their certificate of occupancy. That means that that area that was renovated, the city came in and determined that it was safe for the school to use it, and so that was yesterday. So that's exciting in a lot of ways. And so kind of the progress that is associated with that front component right now is the stairs and the ramp were completed. So that was a concern we had about trying to get that stuff in place, but we were able to source it and get it installed. It looks good. The ceiling's being installed, as well as the lighting. in that area, millwork installation, which is all kind of the cabinetry that we put in, the wall paint on it, ceramic tile at the toilet area in the nurse room, and then curtain wall. When I say curtain wall, it's the glass system that the entrance doors are in, and there's also some windows on the side of it and above it, and so that framing is being installed at the entrance of the building, and then flooring, brickwork on the exterior, flooring on the interior, in hanging the doors, and then commissioning equipment, which means a third party comes in to review the startup of the HVAC equipment. So that Sparhawk is our third party commissioning agent. So they're reviewing that, and they'll write a report on that. So that's those items there. The rear major addition is scheduled for completion in about a month, which seems crazy that we're finally here, a few weeks away from that being completed. And that right now, the curtain wall, again, that's the window wall system that's being installed. And we'll see a few images of that in a minute. Taping and sanding of the drywall, so getting those walls ready to be painted, and then installing the paint on it, the primer, doing the HVAC, so the mechanical system to ventilate the building and the heating and cooling. We've got ceramic tile going in at the bathrooms and the ceiling going up. And then if you've also been over to it, you've seen the first coat of paving was completed. So a lot of work that's been done, but also a lot of work to be done in the next 4 weeks here. From a schedule perspective, again, right now the rear addition looks to be completed for December 16th. And we're just working with Great Falls to make sure that everything is done, including the flush out. I think that's been an issue that we've been looking at carefully. That part of the lead requirement is to flush the building out with fresh air in order to make sure that the indoor air quality is good when the space is ready for occupancy. So that requires us to do so many air changes per to flush out that volume of space. So the images of the larger photo is the corner of the, I believe this one that we're looking at is the cafeteria. Do I have that one right?
That's correct.
And so you can see the frame on it. We have two glass corners. There's one at the cafeteria, and then we have another smaller one at the end of the kindergarten wing. And so they sort of bump out in a similar fashion. So you can see at the edge of the cafeteria that's where the kindergarten wing begins, right there. But so that you can see the frame right now there. The glass panels are not yet installed on that photo, but getting really close. And you can see the gasket, the black gasket, goes between the frame and the glass itself. And then on the front of the building, the center top photo, you can see that they're installing metal panels on the roof soffit, we call it. It's the roof edge. And so you can see underneath it that we still have a little bit of work with the siding and the entrance doors. There's plywood right now, kind of a plywood square where the entrance doors will be, but that's getting closer and closer to being done. We have on the other top right photo, we have the curtain wall that happens right outside of the kindergarten area. So that and the cafeteria. So that's an opening right there. And then interior wise, you can see a lot of the work that is in the front of the building. So where we added on the addition, some of that renovation in the between the addition and the existing has been completely renovated. And so you've got floor protection on the lower right-hand corner. So, but we've got, it's the carpet tile underneath that. And so that's the new admin corridor in that area. And then we also have rubber floor tile being installed on the center lower image. Okay. Furniture update. So we've started taking an inventory of the existing furniture at Przomska, and right now we're looking at potential procurement options for how that is sourced, and so trying to look at the most expedient way to get furniture that we know we'll need for the Presumpscot project. But we're also looking to understand the available funds to be able to address furniture across all three schools, and some of that is going to be impacted by how much the cost of the Reiki roof is, and so that'll use that contingency that we otherwise will slide into the FFE budget. So the back some time ago, and I want to say this was back in, I think, July or August, that we'd kind of given this snapshot of where things were. Originally, our furniture budget was $2.2 million. We used some of that for the Reiki and Presumpscot delay claims, and so that left us with about 1.2. And at that time, we were projecting that if we continued to spend at the rate we were for the contingencies, that we would have about 300,000 to go back into that. So that was just a projection at that time. We're going to be looking again to see what the impact of the roof repair and some of the other contingency items are before we know fully what we have for FFE. But that's sort of again, just a reminder of what the planning for FFE funding was at that time. Okay, contingency update. So again, these are the snapshots at the end of the month when the contractor requisitions for all their work that they've done during that month, as well as any changes that have accumulated during that month. So this is, again, just a snapshot in time. But on Longfellow, the current contingency is 487,000, or was at that snapshot at the last requisition. So the contingency funds expended to date were 473,000. So just kind of giving a little bit of an idea from the new revised contingency budget of 961, 473,000 spent, leaving us with 487,000 there. For Reiki, we of the 405 revised contingency, we had used 139,000, leaving us with 266,000. And again, that's the one we're eyeing to see, will we have enough in that to fund the repair for the roof, or will we need to shift funds around again between the three different contingency funds? And then the Presumpscot right now, from the 501,000 revised contingency, we've spent 377,000, leaving us with 124,000. So, and we'll have a requisition for November and December still to go for that before potentially a final requisition to close out.
I see a question from Aura. Aura, please go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Mark, I was just wondering, since the finishing of Presumpscot is in sight here, can we anticipate needing that remaining contingency fund, or when the project is considered complete, is it still possible that something could come? Just trying to figure out if the project is done mid-December, would we assume if we haven't needed to use that can be moved?
Yeah, in January, in December, we'll have a pretty good idea, because we'll know any potential pending change orders that are still being contemplated. That's what you were
saying, requisition, was that what that term?
Yeah, exactly. And they kind of get finalized and paid for at that. Usually we know them before we actually pay them. So the contractor has a process of submitting them, and then they get reviewed, and then they get incorporated and paid. And so we should have a really good idea. I mean, we're getting close, but we should have a really good idea what the resolution of all of those will be in the December. We'll know. They may need to be paid for in January, but we'll have a pretty good sense of what's left. And I don't know if Dave or Tony have some sense of right now what we might have for pending changes at Presumpscot.
No,
Well,
I think
one thing to
go ahead,
note.
Tony.
I'm sorry. One thing to note is that the December 18th date for the turnover of the CO for the rear addition is one date to keep in mind. But beyond that, there's also site work that will continue into the spring, paving, removal of the modulars, that kind of work. So we want to keep that in mind. I think that as far as changes go, in talking with a contractor yesterday on site doing punch lists for the front addition, they don't see, they don't have any pending waiting for us, to be processed. So hopefully we are through the bulk of the changes at this point. So.
Yeah, Tony took the words right out of my mouth. I think we're caught up on pending change orders. It's possible there may be some more, but point very well taken that there will still be some work in the spring, finishing up the site work. So there will be requisitioning out a few months beyond December.
Okay, and then trying to, and I'm guessing that means there's potential for a need for those contingency funds to not be able to just shift them without knowing site work or something else could come up that we would need to keep funds for Presumpscot?
Yeah, the exposure is probably even more minimized when we get to that point. And so we may leave a little cushion there, but we're probably very safe in moving a significant portion of it. There's at that point we're looking at final coat of paving as well as loam and seed and things like that don't think we're going to anticipate change or surprise in that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so next steps. The first one's already been taken care of because this is the combined meeting. And then our next scheduled DABC meeting is December 15th. And then what we're looking to try to do is have building tours in January for both the DABC and the BLAC. So we want to start the planning for that so that we don't lose sight of it as we all kind of go away during the holidays here. And then we need to start thinking about the ribbon cutting for Presumpscot. So that's exciting too. So last two are really exciting, but we'll also have an opportunity to get together right before the holidays as well.
Javier and Mark, do you know if we're going to do a BLAC meeting in December? I believe that the date would be the 22nd.
Yeah, Superintendent Botton, I don't know if you are there or have thoughts on that, but I would imagine that we'll have pretty low attendance should we decide to have one that evening. So. I think we'll get back to everyone. My guess is that that's probably a difficult time of the month to have it.
I think in that case, we could, again, invite all members of the BLAC to join the DABC meeting. I think unless there's objection, I think this can work for the specific circumstance where we have scheduling conflicts or challenges. So if members of the BLAC want to note the December 15th date, we'd love for you to join this meeting. All right. Well, certainly exciting to think about ribbon cuttings. Are there any last questions? Any discussion? We've been a quiet group tonight. And thank you to the folks who, I'm just seeing your faces now, who joined us during the presentation.
Emily, I have a question.
Yes, please go ahead, Sarah.
Thank you. I just wanted to know when we do the ribbon cuttings, etc., if we could be, mindful of people too. I know that a lot of people work, not only parents, but DABC members and BLAC members so that we can, I know sometimes it's easier for the schools in the morning, but if we could just be mindful and on the tours too, if we could have an option A and an option B, maybe one during the day and one after work time. So people have a couple options. That would be great. Just to
think the ribbon, I absolutely hear you, Sarah, and I know the scheduling can be so challenging with our work schedules, but I do think traditionally we've tried to do the ribbon cuttings to have the school community and highly.
I meant more the tours. I'm sorry. The ribbon cutting, yes, I understand that. I meant more the tours, Emily.
The tours, I believe the tours are our vision is that we do those on a Saturday. So I don't know if that's better or worse, but
that's great. Thank you.
But just for the logistics of making it work, that's what we had talked about. All right. Anything else? Well, it for me is always so exciting to see the progress we're making, and I appreciate every one of you on this call because I know how much it is taking to move these projects forward, and that everyone on this call has played a part. So some on an everyday basis, and some over many years. So thank you so much for all you're doing. Thank you for joining tonight. And that's it for our agenda. So we can go ahead and adjourn. And again, our next meeting is December 15th. And I think the assumption at this point is that it will be a joint meeting of the DABC and the BLAC. All right. Good night, everyone. Thank you so much.